Alright, Chapter 3, Software. Learning a Java upon completion of the chapter, you'll be able to do the following. Recognize and compare different types of the functions of the operating system. Identify type of the utilities, explain their functions, describe the different types of the functions of the programming language, explain the step necessary to develop the program, describe the tools used, compare and describe the type of the functions of the application packages. Alright, introduction. Up to now, we have to discuss the operational concept of the hardware, the computer, the peripheral device, how the device was communicated with each other. What is the thing is what is the thing called software? Do you really need it? Well, you most certainly do. Software play with a major role with the computer. Data processor, for example, without software, some computers, so the computer could not perform simple addition. The software makes everything can happen without putting it in any other way. The software brings the computer to life. You already know that it takes a program to make the computer function that you load with the operating system, and the computer manages the computer system or source of operation, give the information operating system to tell the computer. You may tell the COBLO program. You tell the run the payroll, print the inventory reports. You must tell the copy of the table that you the utility program. You tell the disk file, but also the utility program. You tell the program to job the information. Enter the console, read into the program, the tape from the tape of the desk. It must enter the program for the remote control remote computer terminal. The operator to perceive the profit of the information and execute the program according to the job. Information software can be defined as all stored program, the routines operating if they need to fully the capability of the computer. Generally speaking, we say that if it's not hard, then it would be software. Operating if the operating system hard, leave it over the name of the computer throughout everything else. If you don't, basically, operating system is designed to provide the operator with the most efficient way to execute the many user programs. As operating system, the collection of the many of the programs, computer remains its own resource for the operation programs, control the execution of other programs, the schedule, assignment of the resource monitor for the control of the work with the computer, and several types. Type of the operating system. Operating system is designed to provide various operating modes. Some of the systems can also be done with do one task. Some systems can only do one task at a time, while others can perform several at a time. Some of the systems allow only one person to use the system. Others allow multiple users, single task operating system are simple. If the most common microcomputer CPM 8086 and MS-DOS, for example. Some of the multitasking operating system allow you to do more than one task, and along with the tasks that don't use the same type of the resource. For example, the computer with one of the job of the other, and then long as the second job does not record the parent of the concurrent CPM 86 and the current DOS and the MS-DOS 3.0 or above. The multitasking operating system will let more than one user the resource at the same time, especially useful for sharp content. They have the feasible to process functionality within a computer with the interpret execute the instruction in 16 bits or more with larger memory units. This is an example. These are also multiprocessor systems should be resource the system that means that each of the operator to dedicate the microprocessor CPU would share the common resource that takes printer stacks drive. CPM and CPM 86, the registered trademark Digital Research Incorporated Microsoft DOS. MS-DOS is registered with Microsoft Corporation. Current CPM and concurrent DOS are trademarked for Digital Research Incorporated. Unix is trademark of the AT&T. Compatible with the application software, the application for the program most compatible operating system, therefore the availability of the software, the practical operating system critical to be able to several operating systems have become the most popular for the 8-bit micro BPM control management of the microprocessors, while because of many hardware manufacturers adopt the MS-DOS, the Microsoft disk operating system design of the control program, the microprocessor dominate the lower performance of the 16-bit system. The Unix and operating system with larger computers, the being the powerful unit of 16-bit, 32-bit microcomputers, or other operating system offered by the microcomputer manufacturers. To overcome the application software compatible to program, some of the software comes in several versions, so they can be run on several different operating systems. At this point, remember, there's not always application software will run on all systems. You have to check to see what the compatibility exists, as you need the right version operating system, but they give you a better idea. But except to see the microcomputer display screen, you will show the few fundamental disk operations and some commands. Messages again with the function each of the operating system about the same. Each of the different commands is to do about the same thing. For example, not to be confused with the computer processing microprocessor of the peripheral interchange program and to copy the file the MS-DOS, the copy of the command copy. Remember that the first thing that you need to do is to boot the initial program load, and then there are many ways that this is done. Here's example of when you turn on the computer prompt that appears on the screen. You enter the operating system floppy disk drive. They type the B for the boot. Press for the return key. The operating system will load. But if you use the system set with automatic boosting, you won't have to. You type the B. The system automatically load for the operating system. They interpret the disk that contains some of the system will ask for the data and date and time that each enter these will next prompt. Usually the A drive, the system of the ready, the drive A is assigned with your primary drive. The one thing I want to do to display the directory to see what is on the disk. To then enter the directory following a drive. This will list your files. Our command is COM, configure COM. database is BAK, DOC, finance, BAC, master doc. Let's give the full size of the data at the time of the file. Let's take with the example. Let's see with the copy of the master doc from the floppy disk into the drive. The floppy disk in the drive A. The drive B delete the file with the floppy disk. The drive A. You have the third just to delay with the directory of the floppy disk. Drive A. Check to see with the file you want the floppy disk in drive A. Then ensure for the floppy disk in which of the copy of the drive. Be sure of the format of the track and sector information ready to receive the data. Also be sure the data is not protected on figure 5. 1 1/4 floppy disk means the right protected is uncovered following the A drive. Copy master document B drive, then press return the system copy file with given the same name. Now you want to display the directory drive of the B with the C of the floppy was copy the entering directory drive B following the A drive prompt delete the file for the floppy disk drive A. Delete master record following the A drive with the prompt with the screen with the let's return the problem. Notice enter the end of the directory file with the 3 characters there. Call the extension that tell you the type of the file we're working with. For examples, BAK for the backup, BAS is basic source program, TMP temporary file, DOC, ASC2 document file, BIN binary file, or so on. Other typical built-in operating system commands you can also see you might include rename, change the name of the file, disk copy the whole disk format, and initialize floppy disk, get ready to receive data of the program from the system, time, display the setting time. You will learn these many other commands for the operating specific computer you want to get into the more detail. We have the documentation reference for the manual of the specific version operating system we will be using. Utility programs. Now that you've learned about the operating system, let's go into another type of the program. Utilities like a disk copy, rename the built with the operating system, probably some of the independent utility programs, standard program that run under the control of the operating system, just like application program they call the utilities, become to perform general type of the function for the little relation with the content with the data. Utility programs limit the need for programs to write new programs when all they want to do is copy and print and store, identify all the new program is not needed. We do not have to tell the program what we want to do, but we want, and we'll do this providing information about the file, the data fields, and the process to be used. For example, the sort programs arranged the data record with a specific order, but you will have the sort of the programs will see field with the sort whether the sort is ascending or descending sequence. Let's examine the 2 types of utility programs to give it some of the ideas. Utility program word. First will be a sort measure for the second of the report program generator RPG. Sort and merger program sorting of the term of the range, given the range of the data records, but they provide predefined sequence order merging with the combine the 2 more orders filed into one. The example, think of the inputting only for the people the name of the alphabetical order and for the sequence by last name. We arrange those the last name, and then order for the first name. If you do this or self, we know the alphabetical numeric sequence B that comes after A, C, D, C after B, and so on. Easy with the range, and even if the time consuming the one on computer sequence of the characters to define the code with the code collating sequence of every code of the system is collating sequence. The computer compare the 2 values, determine which of the greater B is greater than A and A C is greater than B, and so on. Makes the sort possible. What about numbers and special character? They are also part of the collating sequence. The E, B, C, D, I, C, E, B, C, I, D is a computer code that discover the detail. Chapter 4, special computer characters such as the pound, many signs, and the asterisk coming from the alphabet characters number the file with the sort record the defined sequence. They are ascending sequence. Most sort programs allow you to sort the reverse order of the ascending sequence of A, B, C, D, I, C, 9 through 1, Z through A for special characters. To sort the data file, you must tell the sort the program the data field with the field. The sort fields are called sorting. Sort, in an example, the last name of the major sort key, the first minus sort key. Or sorting is used in many applications. For example, the mailing with the address, zip code, with the other personal record, with the key, with the servers, the number of the order of the inventory records must be kept in check with the number of the order. You can only go on and on. Many of the other files that are larger. Sometimes sorting of the entire time with the computer one process must be even the computer system, and even will become very familiar with the process. Alright, sort merger program usually has faith the finally initial of the reader of the program that produces the program code for the sorting, allocating memory space for the setup, the function of the sort memory program. Many of the input to have the record with the memory space, but allocated with the holes with the arrangement of the sort for them in the sequence, write them onto the intermediate sort work. It includes the input the sorting, varying intermediate sort work file. They also input the process process and then merge the plan for the order of the intermediate sort work. The output of the sequence specified merging process can be accomplished by less than the number of the sorting process if the intermediate sort work files are in the same sequence of records. Each work file to be recorded can be read. Short keys compared based on the collating sequence and sort parameters record the output file maintains specified sequence. Program generators. Report program generators or RPGs use the generate program with printed details. Summary report the data file. Figure 3.1 example of the printed report. Report program generators were designed to save program timing rather than writing procedural stuff in the language of basic COBOL. Reporting program generators. Program writers were printed report requirements in specially designed formats. Printed report on reported program generator program. Included the requirements of the input file, the description, reporting heading information line with the input data with the record field with the calculations done with the data field with the printed and summary of the report permanent program generator program takes the information generates the program and specific problem when you then run with the program specified input the data with the produce the printed report the input data file must be in the sequence in which with the report the summary of the data. In our example 3.1 we summary of the requisition based the identification unit identification codes where the info file sorted for the input data file with the file containing the unit identification code that provides specification and report program generators program tell the accumulated tool with the detailed individual data reports the unit identification codes change. We told them to the print the total number of the requisition total and with the unit identification code. You didn't have to print each of the detail record. Although we have the unit identification code of the control field. Each of the time control field the control bracket each of the time the control bracket of the program prints for the summary of the information after all the records read and print the printer for the summary line totals of the unit identification code. You can also use the report program generator to generate the program update your files. Alright, programming languages. Programming must be the language that can be understood by the computer solve the method that can achieve the human computer communication. For example, let's assume the computer only understands the French and programmer speaks English. The question arrived at how we would communicate with the computer. I want to first the program with the introduction will help to translate the dictionary to be given with the process that would be able to find with the computer in terms of how it would be very awkward for the programmer. Other approach is to compromise between the program and the computer. The program first writes the instructions of the code each for the relate the English to the code of the computer language. Therefore, the computer does not understand the order of the program. Solve the program by giving the computer another program. I want to enable to translate instruction code to its own language. The translation program, for example, would equivalent to the English-French dictionary, leaving the translation job to be done with the computer. Third and most desirable approach from the individual standpoint of the computer to accept the interpreted instruction with the written in every day the English term that each of the approach has to place it in the evolution program. The language is composed today. Here's today. Machine languages. With the earlier computer, the program had to translate instruct the machine language from the computer's understood, but the language would string the number that represent the instruction code the operated addresses. In addition, the programming doesn't code the number of the instruction computer instructions set of the program. Also had to keep the track of the stored location data instruction. The process of the very time-consuming, quite extensive, often result in errors. Correcting errors, making the modification of these program very tedious. Program symbolic languages. Early 1915, the mnemonic instruction code with the symbolic address were developed. This improved the program, the preparation process with the substituting later developed mnemonic codes, basic machine code language, and instruction code with each of the computer mnemonic codes for the symbol varying among the different mode of the model of the computer. The computer still uses the machine language and in actual processing, but translates symbolic language as the machine language equivalent. Symbolic languages have many advantages over the machine language coding. The less time required to write the program detail is reduced, and the fewer errors are made. The errors which made are easier to find, and programs are easier to modify. Procedure-oriented languages are developed the mnemonic technique for the macro instruct for the level of development of the procedure-oriented language. The macro instruct that allow the program to write with a single instruct for the equivalent and specified sequence of the machine instruct for the procedure-oriented language is oriented toward the specific class for the last processing problem. The class similar with the problems isolated with the language developed with the process of the type of application. Several languages designed with the process of the problems with significant material mathematical nature other than emphasize the final processing. Procedure-oriented language developed that allow the programmer to work with a language that is close to the English and mathematical notation. This improved the overall efficiency. Simplified the communication process of the program and the release language have also allowed us to be more concerned with the program to be solved rather than the detailed computer operation. For example, the CBOL or common base-oriented and common business-oriented language developed the business application, even the statement of the everyday English good to the handling of large data files. The Fortran or formula translator was developed mathematical work, even the engineer with scientific statisticians and other mathematical operations are more important. And basic beginners all-purpose symbolic instruction code design teaching language that helps the beginning programmers write the program. Therefore, general purpose introductory language familiar, easy to learn to use. With this increase, the use of micro beginners all-purpose symbolic instruction code has the retained proper polarity and availability in most microcomputer systems. Other languages, popularity of the popularity are Pascal and ADA. scale, but being as a member of the College of University from the program because it's fairly easy to learn, is more powerful than language basic. And Pascal is not the standard languageization is overused. Rather extensive microcomputers greater than program capability, smaller code than possible basic. The ADA development of the initiative of the U.S. Department of Defense. ADA is a modern general-purpose language which is designed for the professional engineering program in mind that has more unique feature for the implementation of large-scale applications in real-time system. ADA is a strongly supported DoD. Other advocates have become the important language like those previously mentioned. Primarily advantage relates to size and the complexity of which will considered adjustment on the part of most programmers. The most familiar procedure-oriented language is basic and Fortran, but the scientific mathematical problems and common business-oriented language file processing. Programs written with the procedure-oriented language, unlike with the symbolic language, may be with a number of different computer makes. Some level of feature greatly reduce the reprogramming expense of the traffic of one computer system. Other advantage of the procedure-oriented language of the one. They're easier to learn symbolic language. They require less time to write. 3. The better documentation. 4. They're easier to maintain. However, they are some of the disadvantages of the procedure-oriented language. The requirements of more space for the memory than prospect to have slower rate than symbolic languages. Alright, programming. Programming is simply process the playing of the computer solution to a problem. Thus, by the writing, taking the reciprocal resistance with all the positions expressed in simple the way of obtaining step 1, take the reciprocal summarized step 2, standardize process for the program, finding that the total resistance parallel resistance circuit has now been derived. To provide with the example, preparing the program with the computer is not typical. However, one of the basic characteristics of the computer must be kept in mind, but it cannot think. It can only follow a certain command, but these commands must correctly express. But the current must cover all the possibilities. After the program is useful, the computer must be break down the specifically defined operation of the step of the instruction, along with the other data necessary of the performing the operation step that must be communicated to the computer with the form of the language code that is acceptable to the machine. In broad terms, the computer file with a certain step of the actuator executing the program must first read the instruction for the subsequent life of the otherwise program, then in accordance with these instructions execute the following procedures.
And the guy that is doing a little curb pressure washing, he might hook up to our water.
Yeah, he's doing the curbs. Yeah, all right.
Friday morning, I think I have a doctor appointment.
All right.
Yeah.
Locates the parameter counts and such other data may be necessary for the problem. Solution transfer the parameter data for the point of manipulation. Manipulate the parameter data for the corner with certain rules of logic. Store the result of the manipulation. Specific location provide the operator with the useful output. Even with the program elementary character for the one of the above will involve the breaking each of the up down here for the machine operator for each instruments of the parameters given the data necessary problems of the solution for the translated language code that the computer can accept. Next, will provide and introduce problem solve the concept of flowcharting necessary to develop the program. Overview of the program before learning the program. Any language will help establish some of the concept of the product. Part of the entire program. Every concept with the program for the last understanding agreement of the therefore the four fundamental discrete steps involved with the solve of the problem on the computer. 4 steps are followed: to analyze, define the problem, develop the project logic, prepare the program, flowchart the decision, table the code, the problem, prepare the code with the machine with readable form, prepare the test data, perform the debug test run, complete the documentation, prepare with the operator, proceed with the implementation for the operation. Figure 32 with the depict the evolution of the program to be completed, advance the preparation required before you actuate the start the way of the code of the program. The first 2 steps of the program, understand the definition of flowchart, follow into the advanced planning phase of the program. It is important that the plan points to develop the correct habits of procedure since they prevent later the difficulties in program preparation. Our program definition: flowchart coded program, terminal key programs to the computer assembly compilation to debugging, testing, object program listing output. Whether you're working with a system analyst, customer, solve the problem on your own, is extremely important that you have the understanding of the problem. Every aspect of the problem must be defined. What is the problem? What information the data is needed? Where and how will the information be obtained? The desired output. Starting the only portion of the information, then complete definition will result in having the console with the have done accommodate with additional fact that the become available as it is easier, the more efficient for the being programmed, and all the necessary information on step 1 that you have the thorough understanding of the problem. The next following flowchart. Flowchart is one of the mathematical representation procedural step-by-step solution of the problem before you can actually start to write the computer instruction required to produce the desired result. The flowchart is defined. Symbol is connected one way at the rear with the representative of the operation data flow equipment and so forth. There are 2 types of flowchart: system and flowchart program flowchart. The system data flowchart defined with the major phase of the processing as well as the various data media show the relationship to the number of jobs that make the entire system and the system of the flowchart the entire program run in phase of that is always represented with a single processing symbol together with the input-output signal showing the path of the data and problem solution. For example, system flowchart: pay records, payroll, process payroll, paychecks. Second type of the flowchart will take with the selection of the program and the flowchart of the construction of the program represent the sequence of the operation of the computer to perform and solve the performance, graphically describe the take of the place of the program, and display specific operation decision of the sequence within the program. For example, program flowcharts are employee out number of hours, pay rate, hours less than 40, yes, computer, overtime pay, computer, regular pay, print, paycheck, and stop. Tools of flowcharting. Next, we will take a look at the tool of flowcharting. The tool of the fundamental symbol of the graphic symbol of the flowchart, template, the flow chart worksheet. Fundamental symbol of the construct of the flowcharting method, with the symbol of the relay of the main, the same of the military description of the department, the name of the automated data system documentation, standard, the name of the 5233. System U, the representation funding for the fundamental function process, is any input by the output, the terminal flow line. Connecting symbol of all flow chart, the initial with the construct of the fundamental symbol of the rough outline that work through. Each symbol corresponds to one of the function of the computer specified with the instructions to be formed by the computer with the consumptions of the symbol called with the statement, the simple fundamental statements of the definition, exemplification, should be shown 3.3. Show the symbol definition in process, symbol input with the decision, symbol determination, symbol the connector, symbol the flow line, symbol, and then your example and explanation. Graphic symbol with the flowchart, graphic symbol, you the specific arithmetic operation related to the outcome the following commonly the arithmetic relationship symbols. Show the plus, minus, add, multiply, divide, plus, greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, not equal, yes, no, true or false. Flowchart template A, the drawing the flowchart symbol, you may use the flowchart template figure 3-4, show the template contained with the symbol the construct cutouts of the template. The template is made of the plastic symbol, the cutout, allowing the tracing of the outline, decision manual, operating process, define the process, the auxiliary output, output, document, punch card, terminals, magnet, tape, punch tape, communication flow direction, manual input, display, out the flow direction, connector, over offline, online storage. Flowchart worksheet. The flowchart worksheet meaning of the standard of the document improved with the space of the drawing program flowchart with the containment of the error with the identifying the job and indicating the application for the procedure date and the page number figure 3.5. You may find it helpful to develop the flowchart, but do not have the use this form available to plain piece of paper that will do. Alright, show the program, show the flowchart worksheet. Construct the flowchart. There's no special way to construct with the flowchart. There's no way to standardize the program problem solution. Flowchart programming techniques are often unique to form the individual's own method, direction, and problem solution. Session will show the example of the developing program flowchart with not in terms of say the best way rather than the only way to do it. By the following text example, you should grasp the idea of the solving the problem of the flowchart with the construction, gain access to the familiar with the computer system, and the idea of the foundation. Develop the flowchart. You must first know the problem you have solved. If then your job to study the problem definition, develop the flowchart to show that the logic step, the sequence step of the computer is solve the problem. Examples above, you have taken the short term, the second mortgage of the new home. You want to determine the real cost of the amount with the interest amount to be applied with the principal final payment at the end of the 3-layer loan period. First step that you seriously understand the problem, complete with the input of the output of the steps, or need the answer for the question, even the specific problem of your own. Finally, you do not easily think of a small detailed sequence and step how it's exactly how the computer operates one step after another is specified order. They find it necessary to you think problem solution step by step that may clarify the problem and show figure problem definition figure 3.6. Alright, they show the problem definition. Start with the input primary PMT, calculate in monthly interest, compute monthly and loan, computate unit amount implied interest, computate amount implied in principal, computate loan balance, primary monthly, print monthly, summary last month loan and balance loan principal stop. After you have the level of narrative problem definition, you have the ready to develop the flowchart, show the logic step, the sequence step of the computer to solve the problem, program flowchart of the program, and show them the 3 sequences available, the problem definition for the flowchart, the relation to the content, you know how the plan you want to do with the computer. Next step with the code of the program, computer related, and can be translated to the computer set with the instructions. Execute the step with the scope of the program code. Program coding is important, but remember the program coding is not for the first step of the program. Too often we have the tendency to start with the coding as we just discovered a great deal of the planning and the preparation that are done before sitting down with the code. The computer instructions to solve the problem. For example, this authorization problem, we have the analysis. The specification term of the 1 output desired 2 the operation procedure of the 2 the output of the 3 the input that's needed in the conjunction with the analysis. We develop the program flowchart for the outline procedure the technical input the processing usable output with the needed the code of the instruction control the computer during process requires that you know the programming load language. All programming languages Fortran, COBOL, and BASIC are so on composed of instruction enable the computer to process the particular application perform a particular function. Alright, instruction. The instruction is the fundamental element of the program preparation. Like the instruction is considered the subject with the predicate, however, the subject for the issue least but not specifically mentioned the rather some implied with the part of the computer system. If you mean if given, for example, the tube table to say they dump the trash, so they interpret the instruction correctly, even though with the subject similarly with the computer is told the add 1 2 3 4 with the control section may interpret the meaning with the arithmetic logic to add with the content of the address of 1 2 3 4 of the concept of the accumulated register for the result of the operation formed. In addition, the implied subject of the every computer and the explicit predicate consists of at least two parts. The first part would refer to the command line operation, the answer to the question, what would the tell of the computer with the operating to perform the read or print out input. Each machine is limited to another built-in operation capable of executing operating code with the user to communicate the program's intent with the computer. The second specific part with the predicate known with the operating end, and name the object for the operation in general, the operation answer for the where and where operates to indicate the following location where the data is processed, the location where the result of the process is being stored, location for the next instruction to execute with the phone, with the type of the operating end is not specified the instruction executed, but the sequence number of the operating ends, the structure and the format instructions to verify one computer and the other half of the operating end always comes first for the instruction followed by the operating end. The program must prepare the instructions according to the format required with the language of the computer to be used. Alright, your instruction set. The number of the instruction computer instruction set with the main range of the 30 or more than 30 to more than 100. The instruction bank classified categories action performance for the input output the data the movement. Arithmetic logic transfer control the input output the instruction you to communicate with the input output device. The central part of the data move the instruction you to copy the data one short location of the rearrange the chain of the data elements in some of the precise manner. Arithmetic instructs the permanent addition, the subtraction, multiplication, division, the common of the digital computer. The logic instructs also compares them between the variable accounts for the transfer, the control, instruct the two type of the addition, unconditional, conditional transfer, the control, the instruction. The branch change for the sequence of the program control depending on the output of the outcome of the comparison. Output outcome of the comparison is true. The control of the transfer of the specific statement number of the statement number. It also proves the fault of the processing of the continuous subsequently through the program unconditional transfer the control instruction you the change the sequence of the program control to the specified program statement regardless of any condition. Coding a program regardless of the language. There is a strict rule of the programming message here with regard to the punctuation statement and structure of the program. When coding with the use of the program flowchart was introduced earlier, you now have to add the program and code and basically flow the relationship with the flowchart actual coded instruction figure 3.7. Don't worry about the complete understanding. Just look at the instruction flowchart to get the idea of the code instruction looks like. So input PMT like and you have the specific information of the computer. You will tell you how the language is implemented in a particular computer. In order to code the program, the computer manufacturers software design and provide specifically in their user manual to get a copy of the user the manual stuff with it before you begin to code. The difference many of them may seem with the manual to you, but they may prevent you from the program running. One code that is complete with the program must be debugged with tested for the implementation. Debugging. Alright, the error code, the fault of the logic of the code mistake with the referred to with the bugs defining with the correcting these mistakes. Error with the prevent with the program with the running with the produce the correct output called the debug and rarely do complex program with the run the compilation of the first attempt at one time with the spent by debug with testing equal to exceeding the time spent with the program code. It is particularly true with the insufficient time of the word spent with the program definition logic development. Some of the common mistakes would cover the program name bug for the mistake with the code punctuation incorrect operating code with the transposed character the key server the failure to provide the sequence instruction program path needed to process certain conditions. To release the number there we want to carefully check the coding sheet or they are keyed into the computer. The process in this is just showing should include the examination program completeness. Typical data should be manually traced with the program processing path to identify with the possible error. The infectable attempt to play with the role of the computer after you have to test check the program accuracy. The program is reached to be assembled and compiled with the assembled compiler programs prepared with the program source program to be executed by the computer but have the error diagnostic feature which detect the certain types of the mistake within your program. This mistake must be corrected even with the error-free pass of the program. The assembly or the comply with it must be accomplished. It does not mean the program is perfect and perfected. However, even means ready for testing. Once the program reaches the testing stage, generally the provider will run and produce the output of the programs of the testing to determine that all data processed correctly. Output with the correct the test processing involved the processing input test data will produce the national result of the test data. Should include the typical data will test the commonly used the program path usually with the valid data, which will test the program path with the process examination. Exemption 3, the incorrect and incomplete with the inappropriate data will test the program's error routine. The program does not pass the test, more test is required. You have to examine the errors, review the coupling, coding, make the coding correct needs, make the program pass the test and ready for the computer implementation before the computer implementation play. If the documentation must be completed. Documentation is a continuous process beginning with the problem definition documentation and involve the collecting, organizing, storing, otherwise maintaining complete record of the program's other documentation associated with the document data storing process of the Navy. The established documentation standard employee completeness, uniformity, computer system information between the commands and between civil and Navy organization. Second Navy instruction 52331 establishes minimum documentation requirements. A documentation page shows the definition of the problem. With the request of the program would approve that these type of the questions should be answered. The description of the system environment hardware, safety, software, organization, and with the program function they describe. They include the system flowchart, general the system specification only. Scope of the problem, the form, the type of the input, the output, the form, the type of output, the required, the clearly defined, a description of the program, flowchart, program listing of the program, control the test result of the storage jump. These other documents describe the program and the general gave the historical record of the chain of the other should be included. The operation instructions and items should be included. The arm or computer and switch setting, loading procedures, starting and running termination procedures. Implementation. After documentation is complete, after the output of the correct with the program is ready for you with the program, the play for the program existing system. General why the parallel period of parallel processing. This job application process on both the old program and by the new program. The purpose of the period to verify the progress, process accuracy and completeness. All right, package software. Unfortunately, you do not have the right program every problem to be solved. Instead, you use the package off the shelf programs designed specifically to class application. Every more package software written manufacturer software. Housing Central Design Agency because the app to be able to generate youth may be able to solve the problem because the process of the job of the specification package program looks at the four classes of the package software may work with word processing data is managed spreadsheet graphic word processing. You can use the word processing software with the function of the involved text letters, memos, form of the reports, and so on. And minimally include with routine creating and editing. Retrieve the encoding of the word processing software control. They generally enter the text with the keyboard as print with the display screen with the figure 3. At this point, you show them the distant tape printer and on printer change the edit function of the add with the delete word character for the line of the sentence paragraph of the rearrange text for example boom block of the information another place the same as the document even within the fragment word process the particular full text document repetitive require a lot of revision and save a lot of rekeying word processing. Other feature of the key software often available the word processing software package includes spell check with the mailing list program, the documentation compliant programs, compilation programs, computation programs, model checker, the spell checker that help with the misspell of the words do not make an issue within scan text, the matching the words against the dictionary where the word is not found in the dictionary of the system. The black word you can check with the misspell, but you can correct it. Will have the proofread the document to see everything used key the word is used correctly. Mailing lists programs are maintaining name and address file with the other often compatible with the individualized writers, inserting name of the word, phrase, or personal line to them. Document completion programs are useful with the same paragraphs and information that you can combine with different way for the various purposes. For example, you may answer the inquiries, putting together contracts and proposals. One select the same paragraph they want to add variable information, save the both key and the proofreading time. Communication software hardware are unable to do the transmit receive text on your microcomputer. Many organization capability electronic mail and matter of minutes so that you can enter the transmit amendment with the other command of the personal and other location can transmit monthly reports and notice and any other documentation on microcomputer. Alright, data management software allows the input the data to retrieve the variety of the ways different data field with yourself with the screen and then promptly enter the data record according to the prompt figure 3.9 view. A show the example the ship of the breath of the this and table once you have the field and the key is stored, retrieve the record of the field of the several fields by searching the records of the specific data. For example, if you want to list the person who reported aboard 1988, you tell the system to search the field of the pre-printed, select the field of all the records made with the condition, and you tell the system field of the print with the rate, name of the rate, and social security number, the date reported, where in the print position printed them. At the same time, you can specify in what in order what you want the record to be printed. For example, 3.9 view B with the records printed the alphabetical order with the last name of the self, where also provides routines you can easily add, delete, and change records. You can also generate reports specifying the records you view with the field with the print with where to the print with the field with the data field with the need to be common. For example, the supply author wants to know the value of the inventory specify the extended price to be calculated by the multiplying the item quantity. The price of the extended prices are to be total. You can also make specific information to be for using the reporting column headings with the data management program. Micros are not sophisticated. The database management system they mainframe with the many of the divide extremely useful capabilities and often board chips. Or a spreadsheet, the table of the row of the column number, the figure 310 show the example of the spreadsheet profile allows you to set up the table of the row of the column, specify the calculation, perform the column with the enter the value of the basic information appropriate row of the column, the process or perform the calculation. Example of the using spreadsheet of the project management. Magnetic media column, enter the description of the column head, the reporting title of the data, the 1, 2, and 4 with the software calculation of the column 3, adding columns 1 and 2. Then I comply with the column 3 with column 4, pull it to the result of the column 5, and subtotals of the column specified in the case of the columns 1 through 3 and column 5. Our graphics capability available to many microcomputers. One, you the product data display with the bar charts, pie chart, the graphic figure 3, 11 the view A, view B. Some of the micrographs you do online drawing, other creative sophisticated engineering drawings, high resolution color graphics are also available in specialized applications. Bar chart. When you can use this printer over the graphic output, the must comply with the producing graphics off the mobile compatible software. Compatible with the software, some character printers can be used with limited graphics. That matrix printers, plot wells, graphic output with laser ink shaders are good for the bold text and graphics. Alright, Chapter 3 Summary.